This is Pankaj Mitra, co-founder and managing director, making a presentation on MIDAUTEL, Midas Automation and Telecommunications Private Limited. We provide permanent cyber security to all organizations, internal networks, databases, and WAN computing against hackers, moles, and malware. Increased use of WAN computing, calling for secure WAN-MAN connectivity, widespread use of the internet, constant race between improved security devices and improved predator techniques in the present connectivity practices led to the need for isolating internal and external networks. Since you cannot live and thrive in isolation, a method had to be devised to transfer publishable information, data and mail back and forth between the internal and external networks without impairing the security of the former. 26 plus years of R&D, 3 letters of patent and 2 more pending patent applications which protects the product till November 2034 has helped in introducing PVDTN-STS-IBN. PVDTN is the integrated man-WAN connectivity for MLOs. STS, the secure transfer mechanism which transfers publishable information, data and mail back and forth between the internal and external networks at a single central point, usually the data center, without impairing the security of the internal network. IBN, a terminal which facilitates the user to work both on the intranet and on the internet without impairing the security of the former in all locations of the organization. The LANs for intranet and internet are segregated or air-gapped at all locations of a multi-locational organization, MLO. The internet LANs get their internet connection from the local ISP of the location. The intranet LANs at all the locations are connected to that at the central location through a point-to-point P2P lead line-based man-WAN connectivity. There is no interaction between the two separated LANs at all locations except the central location where there is interaction through the STS system. This slide shows A, the PVDTN nodal structure, which shows how the channel splitter splits the lead line bandwidths and feeds the circuit switch router EPACs and the packet switch router data router. B, shows how the integration is done using circuit switching for voice fax communication and IP packet switch communication for all data and IP services. C, shows how the PVDTN man-WAN is created using P2P lease lines from all peripheral locations to the central location and then cross-linking with adjacent locations to form the tri-node architecture for alternative routing. D, shows the STS-IBN architecture at the central location. At all other locations, only the IBNs will exist to work on the separated intranet and internet LANs. E shows the picture of the secure switch, which is used both for the STS and the IBN functions For the former, the automatic switching software is used, and for the latter, the on-demand switching software is used. The unique value proposition of the product is that it ensures permanent cyber security of all organizations, internal networks, databases, and WAN computing against hackers, moles, and malware. This is achieved by segregating the internal networks from the external networks at the LAN, MAN, and WAN levels, and automating the transfer of information, data, and mail back and forth between the two networks at a single central point, usually the data center, through the STS system. This slide shows the product differentiation and market fit. The slide shows the present method of connectivity, which uses a single LAN for the intranet militarized zone and the internet demilitarized zone, the two being separated by a system of firewalls. This is not totally safe from cyber attacks, as all firewalls are breakable if they have continuous physical access from the internet. In the PVDTN-STS-IBN connectivity, the physical separation of the internal and external networks at the LAN, MAN, WAN levels ensures that hacker/malware cannot enter the internal network from the external network at all locations where the two networks do not interact. The exchange of information, data, and mail is automated, no manual interaction, at the central location through STS system, thereby eliminating the mole threat. The only possible entry of malware into the internal network is via the PS and IS CD in slide 3 during the PSIS sync process. This is protected through endpoint security on these two servers, gateway security on the internet LAN, and online monitoring for zero-day attacks. In the backdrop of increasing cyber crimes, this system is almost a compulsion for all organizations that run their business on ERP and or their production processes using ICS and SCADA. This slide explains the business model. The various network components like the TDM muxes, routers, ePaxes, IP managed switches, servers, storage where required, switchable thin clients, secure switches, data communication software for the PVDTN malware, customized STX exchange and sync initiation software, internal cabling components and accessories, and point-to-point P2P lease lines bought in from the preferred vendors listed in the slide are stitched together to build the total PVDTN-STS-IBN connectivity. MIDAUTEL takes total responsibility for all components used in the network with back-to-back guarantees from each of the vendors. The starting point is the location-wise details of total number of computers, net telephones, net faxes, IBN users to be provided by the client organization. We do not have any direct competition. Indirect competition is provided from system integrators like HCL Comnet Limited, Dimension Data Limited, etc., who build computer connectivity using present methods. These are subjected to constant race between the improving security devices and improving predator techniques. Our disruptive connectivity solution PVDTN-STS-IBN denies entry of hackers and malware into the internal network and eliminates the race between improved security devices and improved predator techniques. The air-gap defense establishment networks are also able to do this. However, they suffer from more threats as the exchange of information, data and mail is done using media, CDs, DVDs, pen drives, etc. And this can be done anywhere in the network. The automation of transfer of information, data and mail at a single central point through the STS system without any manual intervention eliminates the mole threats. The system inherently protects against hackers and moles. Only 2 servers in the whole network are exposed to the internet, PS and IS. By providing endpoint security to these 2 servers and online monitoring for zero-day attacks, any possibility of malware ingress into the internal network is eliminated. With this, the PVDTN-STS-IBN is able to provide permanent cyber security against hackers, moles and malware to the organization's internal networks, databases and WAN computing. Besides the security, the integration technique used, that is circuit switch for voice and fax communication and packet switch for data communication, requires less bandwidth than the VoIP integration, thereby reducing the network operating cost. The savings so effective can pay back the network re-engineering cost within a few years. This slide shows the scalability of network size and the scalability of company operations. Scalability of network size. The product can be used to cover all locations of an organization with just a few locations to those with thousands of locations spreading across the country and the globe in single or multi-tier configuration. Scalability of company operations. On the assumption that at least 50% of all Indian companies, private and public, have either already moved their businesses to ERP or are in the process of doing so, our total target market is 41542 MLOs and 44629 SLOs. Add to this all the defense establishment networks and the government department networks. The total Indian market is in excess of INR 100,000 crores. We are ramping up to get at least 8 to 10% of the total market in the first 5 years from the date of launch, which is expected in 2 to 3 months from now. The ramping up is done by recruiting, training, additional site construction engineers, SCEs, and equipping them with appropriate testing instruments and construction tools to keep pace with the order intake.